hello there. I hope you can hear me. Give me thumbs up if you can hear me. And that's a good thing. And that was a little opening I used from when I do the NBA shows, and that is from a CBS. I love that. It was from like the 1970s of CBS. And oops, that's my little thing right there. So welcome to we made it to another week, which was better than the Jaguars did. So we're going to get right to the show after I talk a little bit, because who doesn't want to hear me talk? My wife. She doesn't like to hear me talk too much. So that's it. And it's to be an interesting week. We're coming down to playoff time, so we're going to have some playoff action going on. I'm hoping to get some new guests on tonight. I don't see them yet, so hopefully they'll come on, and we will review what went on with this past weekend. COVID attacking teams. We know college games have been canceled. A lot of games coming up this weekend have been canceled, and we have, as I've mentioned before in previous shows, no team has become dominant, and teams are flipping. It seems like Arizona is having a new half of a season in a bad way, and the Dolphins are having a new half of a season in a good way. But you have to take into account a lot of things. Schedules are huge, and we'll get into that, because you could win 5 games in a row against some lousy teams, but you could lose against some really good teams, and it's just tough. So your schedule, your record is not really reflective of what's going on, because you could have a good draft season, you could have good trades, you could have improved your team, and you are against a lousy schedule, an easy schedule, I should say, or a hard schedule. So, all righty, we are going to bring Remy in. Remy, one of our regulars.
Hi.
Again.
Hi. How are you? Happy New Year.
What's that?
Said happy almost New Year.
Happy almost New Year. And yep, I had a little traveling today. I had to travel in today. If people are traveling during the holiday, oh my God, what a mess that's going on. And LAX was a mess today. I sat out on the tarmac for like an hour and a half. And then I have a flight tomorrow to Las Vegas at 7 in the morning. And oh, you know what? Let me see if I got my picture. I was in Vegas last weekend at the Raiders game.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was nice. Keep off the grass.
Were you working, or were you working?
I was working, yeah, a CBS show. So it was fun. It turned into a decent game. So I'm going to bring on a couple regulars. I'm going to bring in a new person. We have Casey in. Nice to see you, Casey.
Hey,
we
guys.
have
Casey.
you know what? Let's do a little intro for Casey, because here's our intro.
Week 16 of the NFL is in the books, and that means it's time for some tasty Casey takes.
So Casey will be coming up with her reviews and previews. And Julio, buddy, how you doing?
How you guys doing?
Hey, Julio.
Nice to see you. And we're gonna bring we have a new sports glutton on, Mr. Manly Woods.
I know Manly.
So, you know Manly?
How you guys doing?
Hi.
How do you know, Julio? How do you know Manly?
Gardena High School.
Yes, sir.
What?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do you remember Julio?
Julio? It's been a while.
What's up?
It's been a while. Mohican.
Whoa, small world, man.
Small world, sir.
So Manly, where are you coming in from?
Coming in from Compton, California.
CPT.
Oh, you're
Yes, sir.
around the. Oh, so okay. So if we start off with Rams and Chargers, we're still in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
That's a good
Yes, sir.
thing.
Definitely.
That's a good thing. Is that we got a goal record back there? Right?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. My wife.
Is that Elvis Presley?
That is Ice Cube.
Really?
Ice Cube. The death certificate album, I believe. Yeah. My wife used to work for a record company.
Yeah.
And she worked with Ice Cube, NWA, Eazy-E, all those guys, and so yeah, those are
Right.
her records on the wall, not mine.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. NWA though, was it NWA, NWO? What was it? NWA?
NWA. Yeah.
NWA. I had a hard time with that because they stripped that from, there was the World Wrestling Federation and then Ric Flair from the NWA. So I had a,
That was the that was the NWO.
Was that the NWO?
That was the NWO. Yeah.
That was the NWO.
World Order
Yeah.
for life.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Ric Flair,
Yeah.
Ric Flair, he was something special. But you
Flair
never get to see him versus Bruno Sammartino.
Right.
So
Ric
that
Flair was the man.
Oh, Ric Flair. Ric Flair was the man of the South, and Bruno was the man of the Northeast.
Yeah.
So that was with what was it?
I used to watch Bruno Sammartino at midnight on Saturdays on Channel 9 in New York. That was he was the king of wrestling back then.
On WOR. I don't know if you remember this. So Wolf, what was the guy? Warner Wolf. We used to on CBS. So Monday night, once a month, they would have wrestling at the Garden. And at the end of Warner Wolf's broadcasts, the sportscast, like at 11:30 at night, it was like 11:25 he would do it. And he would play like a 12-second clip of the Bruno match. And I just like tuned into that because it was like the real thing at that time. It was at Madison Square Garden. That was like the coolest thing because they didn't have any cable or anything back then. So, you got a sneak peek at that. So, Manly, do you have a favorite team?
My favorite
Football?
team is the Raiders. Las Vegas
When
Raiders.
were they in LA? Is that because they were in LA, right?
That is and that's just my earliest memory of a team. It was between them and the Steelers, and I just decided on the Raiders because I was a huge Cliff Branch fan. Well, I was a huge Lynn Swann fan also, but the Raiders just resonated with me a little bit more than the Steelers.
Yeah, Cliff Branch was amazing.
Wasn't Cliff Branch just nominated for the Hall of Fame, or did I mishear that recently? Or maybe he's already in, actually.
He is. I don't believe he's in. He needs to be in. It's a shame. He needs to be in.
I feel like I heard something. Maybe it was Veterans Committee or something. Just his name was in the news like really within the last week, and I think it might have been a Veterans nomination, or maybe it was a snub, and they were talking about it. But it came up this week.
He's been snubbed, I believe, a couple times. But they need to hurry up and correct that mistake. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. One of the greats. 100%.
They corrected the Tom Flores mistake. Now they need to correct this one.
Exactly.
And talking about the Raiders, so John Madden, the sad passing. But that goes back to the old Raiders of when it was like Jim Otto and names that I love. Darryl LaMonica. I just love those names. And
Ken Stabler, those guys.
Right. Who was the receiver? Darryl LaMonica had a great receiver, Fred Biletnikoff. And those names were just great. I used to love watching those games. And on the side, that was when they were a little more creative. So the yard markers were in like the shield. They had them in the Raider shield, the 10, the 20, the 30. That was pretty cool to do that. So, all righty. So let's review. We got some good matchups this week and some Battle of the Bads going on. And
hey, Todd, is there a particular reason why you're wearing that Bengals jersey this week?
Yeah, because I got it on sale.
It wasn't that 525 somebody just threw this past weekend, was it?
No. And I want to talk about that. And no, the Bengals are my favorite uniform. I think they have the coolest hat. They don't have the typical logos on the side. I love the Bengal stripes, and I just think it's a great. I love their. And I had a match, so I have a Marlins hat on. I had to match colors. I was going to put a Reds hat on, but it clashed, and I can't do that. So talk about Cincinnati. So, what did he break? He broke a record, right? or he
No.
did something.
Fourth? Is he fourth or fifth all time? Fourth?
Fourth to do 500, and he missed but it was 525. The other ones had 527.
Yeah.
And the other guy had like 540 or something like that.
And did they do that in a win or a loss? They
won.
They won. They beat Baltimore. Not a But here's my thing about Cincinnati, and that he is like the Russell Westbrook of the NFL, because he's having all these great numbers, but what's happening? They're not winning. They're not where they should be. So what's the problem with?
Did they 9-4, 9-5, or 10? They're 9-5, aren't they?
Cincinnati is.
And this week, I think the big game, they might actually be able to take a tie for the division or take the lead in the division if they win this week.
No, they're in the lead right now.
Okay.
They're in the lead. But
here's the teams they lost to. They lost to the Bears. They lost to the Packers, which, okay. They lost to the Jets, and they lost to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to the 49ers. So they beat Denver 15-10, and they've had some really big games. But overall, I just think, they should be like 13-2 or something.
But I think they're a year ahead. They're a year ahead. No one at the beginning of the season was thinking of them. This is kind of like the Seahawks team when Russell Wilson, I think it was his second year, maybe it was his first, when they were ahead of the curve, right? I think they built expectations. Did they start 5-0, I think, this year? Something like that. So I think there was a lot of expectations, and they're ahead of the
Cincinnati
curve.
started 5-2. They started 3-1.
But this is Mixon. This is really Burrow's rookie season, because he got hurt last year and only played a few games.
Exactly.
So he's played with Ricky, and they didn't have Mixon. Wasn't Mixon out for a few games? Those games they lost, they didn't have.
This is Blake Griffin year, huh?
Yeah. So they didn't have Mixon either on the games that they lost, or it just goes to prove too that if he doesn't have a good game, they lose.
Casey brings up a great point about comparing him to Russell Wilson. I compare him a little bit to Drew Brees when he was in the San Diego organization. He reminds me of Drew Brees, and I think he can become a Drew Brees type of quarterback if his receivers don't drop passes like they were earlier in the season. So I think he just has so much potential, this kid. But comparing him to Russell Westbrook, I thought that was hilarious, Todd, because
right?
let's not get into my Lakers right now. But yeah, I mean, you put up the numbers.
You can have 800 triple doubles a year, but if you can't win, what's the point? Something's wrong. You're doing something wrong. So, isn't Cincinnati where they had that great game and the great team? He had some great passes, and the guy tosses the ball, and he threw he guy caught it and he tossed it, and he was his receivers were horrible.
Yeah, I think that was against the Rams. No, was it against the Rams? Or no, the Chargers? I think it was against the Chargers. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, one of them. I can't remember who the receiver was, but he dropped the pass and then they intercepted it, right? And then, but if he would have caught it, he would have had a clear touchdown. Who was that?
I remember that. And then he tossed the ball to the other guy.
I mean, they have Hooper. They have Jamar Chase. They have
Chase. Chase dropped it.
He's a rookie this year.
Yeah.
Well, he had a issue with dropping a lot of passes earlier in the season, but he has come on real strong. He is out there making plays for them. Their other receivers are also making plays.
You think he's a keeper?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Without a doubt. Yeah. He's out there killing it. He's killing folks.
No, not Burrows, the receiver.
Exactly. Yeah. Chase.
Yeah.
Keeper. They better keep him. They better keep Chase, Mixon, and Burrow. Those are their triplets.
They got a great skill package because they also have Hooper at tight end, and I'm spacing the other receiver's name, who goes over the middle a lot, which really opens up things for Chase.
Yeah, he has he starts with an O, right? His name
Chase, Boyd.
Boyd, I think it is. I think Boyd goes over the middle a lot because Hooper and Boyd go over the middle, which of course then opens the outside for Chase, which is, he's an awesome long route runner.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Cincinnati could be so this is a big test this week. It's the Bengals versus the Chiefs. I think it's a big test for both teams because the Chiefs, they're expected to win. They've turned their season into like Remy was for the Chiefs all the way. And they have just gone. What are they at? They're at 1, 2, 3,
They won
4,
8 in a row.
8 in a row.
ridiculous.
And against
One
some
division.
powerhouses, Green Bay, Dallas. They held Green Bay and Dallas to under 10, and
Well, they held
Denver.
Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is on that game. They don't win.
And they should have lost against the Chargers if the Chargers would have just taken those damn points when they when they were in field goal range.
Yeah. Which now you look at it, that's their season. They might not make the playoffs because of that game.
Yeah, it's
Who?
Chargers.
yeah.
Oh, the Chargers. Well, we'll talk about the Chargers, but the Chiefs. It looks like they've allowed one touchdown in like what 4 of last 6 or 5 of last 7. That's incredible defense.
Yeah.
And if you put, I'm thinking you put Mahomes. Let's say you put Mahomes and the Bengals guy quarterback at the same level. Kansas City just has a better team, I think, and I think the Chiefs are gonna. I'm giving them a 24-14 win in this one.
And they have a running game too.
What was that?
They have a running game, and that's what I think Cincinnati needs to look at next year. They need to get a decent running back, I think.
Right.
But in the defense, and that was the whole thing with the Chiefs at the beginning of the season. Their main guy on the defense was out, and then their defense was like kind of letting them down. So the offense was letting them down. So Patrick Mahomes thought he had to do everything because he didn't have a defense. And then once the defense got back in place, he's back to the old Mahomes. And they won a division. They just clinched their division this week. And you don't want to go there.
Kansas City is a strong team right now. They're a strong team.
Number 1 seed has to go through Kansas City for the 3rd year in a row if they win the next 2 games. So.
Kelsey finally woke up too, you guys. Kelsey is, oh my God.
He was out though. He didn't play, right? Didn't he? Or did he?
That game against the Chargers though, oh my God, he was possessed.
He's out of control. He's a matchup issue for every team in the league. You can't. The defensive backs are too small. The linebackers are too slow, and he has he's playing with a great quarterback that's able to throw the ball anywhere, and the middle is wide open for him because the outside is you got people doubling Tyreek Hill. It's like who you pick your poison, it's and then they have the other fast receiver, Mecole Hardman. It's the league should have taken advantage of Kansas City when they had the chance, which
yep.
Most teams did because their record was horrible to start the season, but their offense was playing bad, the defense was playing bad, and that's why they went on that losing streak. And the last, I guess, 8 or so games, they've just been hot. But those first 3 games that started their winning streak, the offense was still playing bad, but the teams weren't able to capitalize on them, and so. Once the offense got their head straight and the defense got their head straight, it's just like it's like what you're going to do.
It was a funny season for them because preseason everyone's like, oh, it's the Chiefs against the field. Then about a quarter way through, everyone's like, oh, the Chiefs are over, and now everyone's back to the Chiefs are the strongest favorite. So it's been a wild ride.
I believed in them all the way.
He did. I was so against the Chiefs. I was so against them, and even though red is one of my favorite colors, but Remy was with them all the way. She's not jumping on the bandwagon.
And my Green Bay predictions almost still going on too. I said they wouldn't lose another game.
Yeah, they're. So, does anyone think anything other than the Chiefs this week as far as Chiefs Bengals? Anyone calling an upset or no?
Are they playing in Kansas City?
I'm gonna. It's funny. This, I do graphics for television shows, and this is what I came up with for us for right now. So, That's but it's a little crude for now. But next season, oh god, we're gonna have a whole thing. So all right. So let's talk. Let's see. What's a big game? Rams. Ravens. Rams are in the playoff hunt, right? So anything for them is big right now.
They're in the playoffs. They clinched a spot.
They clinched.
They did a wild card.
Right now, a wild card. Yeah, they haven't clinched a division yet, but they're in first. They're in their division lead, because Arizona's pulling like they did last year and going on a decline at the second.
and last I heard,
Murray gets hurt. They go on a decline. He comes back, and they go. That's what happened last year. He got hurt, and they couldn't win. And he came back, and they couldn't win. He got hurt. Colt won 2 out of 3, and then he hasn't been able to win since.
And last I heard, Lamar Jackson was not going to play this weekend. They're talking about like questionable, but I heard he was like at practice yesterday.
He was limping. He came in and he was limping, and he came back. And the Ravens have lost 4 straight, but they can score. And the Rams, when we're talking about schedules, they had an easy schedule, and that helped them. That helped their season, and they got serious since Odell signed. So they dumped their slump. This is an important game, and it could be a tough one. But Baltimore has just become so bad, and their quarterback's not playing. Like you said, he won't be playing.
But is Huntley playing?
What was that?
Is Huntley playing then?
I think so. I like Huntley. I think he's a good player.
He's no joke, dude. Somebody he's going to be picked up next year. That guy can play, so I wouldn't put anything past that guy, him at all. He's really good. He's a really good quarterback. The 2 games before, they almost beat the Packers. I don't
know if I'm the Ravens, I don't think I get rid of him though, because Lamar's issue is he's starting to turn into like a Robert Griffith III. To me, he's starting to, defenses will only get fooled. You fool me once, you fool me twice, right? They know what to do with him now. So I think the fact that he's always running out of the pocket, trying to get those yards, he's going to be injury prone. So I don't know if you even.
He had to, because they lost all of their running backs and all. This year they started off in the basement, like they had no running backs. They lost half of their offensive line, so he had to do that. He didn't do that much last year. Last year he did it a little bit. He was more in the pocket. Mm-hmm. But Huntley, there's just no way they're going to be able to keep. They can.
He's a free agent. Huntley's a free agent at the end of the season.
There's too many teams that are going to want him. I want him, but I've heard
the Giants.
I want him, but I heard the sad news that Daniel Dimes is coming back.
Oh.
So we got some pennies coming in. We're pennies, Joe.
Well, you're going to see now. We're going to probably see him this weekend against the Rams.
No, he's out the whole year with his neck. Oh, Huntley. Yeah.
So we're going to see, and he has, talking about the schedule. So the Rams, and it's good, their record is good, but this is when they start facing tough teams. So they beat Seattle, the Giants, the Lions, Houston. They lost to Tennessee, San Francisco, and Green Bay. Then they beat Jacksonville, a big win against Arizona, and Seattle and Minnesota. Those were not, except for Arizona and Green Bay.
They beat Tampa Bay. They beat Tampa Bay. They beat Tampa in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Right. But they beat Tampa Bay in the beginning of the season. They had a great start. They were 7-1.
And they got Cam Akers coming back this week off injury reserve.
And Henderson went on reserve.
He just went on.
Yeah, that's big. That's big coming towards the end of the season, because now playoffs coming, and
Stafford didn't look too good. Stafford.
Do we get good Stafford or do we get bad Stafford? That means so much this week. Not this week, actually. I really think the Ravens are going to be outgunned this week. But going forward, good Stafford or bad Stafford?
Does anyone think the Ravens are going to win this one?
I don't know.
I think the Rams defense pulls through. I think, our running game with Cam Akers and with Sony Michel, we should control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Stafford, an important game.
Talk about a pickup. Sony Michel, they got him for nothing. Nothing.
Thank you, Bill Belichick.
What was that?
Thank you, Bill Belichick.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we're gonna go with the Rams on this one.
Yeah,
All right.
Rams.
Couldn't see that one. So, all righty. So we got the Rams going on that one. And the Chargers. Let's hop over the Chargers. Chargers are against the Broncos.
Good night, sweetheart.
That's a battle of the mediocres to me.
I think they win that game, though.
Their tackling is horrible. The Chargers tackling. I watched the game recap, and it was just missed tackle after missed tackle. It's crazy.
And then Herbert had his bad game. He had to have his one bad game. He hadn't had one yet, really. So he had his 4 interceptions, whatever horrible game that was. He did not look good at all. But
are they in Denver?
They're in LA. They're at home.
And Drew Lock will be a quarterback. I heard Bridgewater's still in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chargers shouldn't. I mean, it's a division game, and those are normally tough in the AFC West normally. But I think the Chargers will handle their business.
They've given up 20 or more points in 4 or 5 losses. They've averaged 40 points in the last 3 wins. They could score, but their defense is just not great. And losing to Houston just showed their flaws. And
it's also
I don't know how
country.
What?
It went across the country, which is that whole thing when you're gambling. Don't bet on the team that goes from the east to the west, from the west to the east, because of the time they don't usually win those games,
especially the early ones.
Yeah, they usually don't win the 10 o'clock, the early game, or the 1 o'clock game.
Then the Broncos have scored 13 points or less in 3 of the last 4 games. What are the Chargers? They're going to be in the wild card. They're hunting for a wild card.
They're sniffing it.
Yeah.
They're sniffing
and I
the
think
wild card.
if they get it, I think that's as far as they're going. I don't think they're going past the wild card.
Yeah, they're
I
sniffing.
think they're going to take the Broncos but I don't think they're going to. Anyone calling an upset on that one or no? I think the Chargers take the Broncos. What do you think?
Herbert's going to have a comeback game this week.
Yeah.
They got embarrassed too, losing to the Texans the way they did. They got embarrassed, and again they're going up against Drew Lock most likely. So,
are any big that cough reminded me any big COVIDs out this week or
not me? No, I just got diagnosed with COVID today. So,
did you?
Yeah, I was in North Carolina last week, and that's why I didn't get on the thing. I was visiting family, and then I got back yesterday, and I got the test results this afternoon. So,
how do you feel?
I feel okay. I mean, I just feel like I'm cold. But it sucks because I can't work, and I'm supposed to move by Saturday. So,
oh man,
I have to call my landlord and say, "Can I stay an extra week?"
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
that's a tough one. That's why I don't get tested.
I work in a massage therapist office and chiropractor, so I had to get tested. So.
Oh yeah, because you're around. So what are you taking anything or no?
I know. I just found out at 3. I just came home and I'm still not believing the test, but we'll have to see.
Right.
It was weird. I've never seen a test like that. It said, out of range detected, something range not detected. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And my friend has a brother who's a doctor, and she sent it to him. He goes, that means you have it. But I think I have a small one where it's just like a cold.
Yeah.
It really is just like a cold. I'm vaccinated. And
All right. That's good. That's good. As long as you're, hopefully you'll be okay.
Hey, that means I'm off on Sunday and I can watch football on Sunday.
Watch football. Oh, do you normally work on Sunday?
Yeah, and I have to watch on the replays on the NFL Network.
Oh, got you.
Yeah,
got you.
So
Yeah, and you're a big football lover too. So that. All right. Well, all right. Well, let's hope for you feel good and you don't get too run down. So, all righty. So the only one out this week of the NFL is Remy. Okay. So
feel better, Remy.
Thanks.
I'm looking at the Raiders because Manley's a Raiders guy. So the Raiders and the Colts, and Remy's convinced me of the Jonathan Taylor. He's a powerhouse, Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of COVID, I think Wentz, if I recall, he at least was in the protocol. I don't know what that means for this week, but he definitely is a questionable.
Yeah,
last I heard,
he has COVID. Apparently, I heard too. And that's why, because I saw him think, oh, they're talking to Philip Rivers. I'm like, what the fuck is it? And then I saw that he had COVID. I'm like, well, I saw Philip Rivers in an interview, and he does not look like in fighting shape to come back and play quarterback.
So who's their backup then if Wentz don't play?
It's Brissett. No, it's not.
Brissett. You're right. Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett.
He's,
that's when you rely on that Jonathan Taylor. It's just run.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing. They won 6 of 7 and 8 of 10. Their defense is not great. They don't have any sacks in a lot of games, and the Raiders have scored 17 or less in 7 of their last 8 games, which is not great. And Manley, what do you think about your Raiders this week?
I think we need to get this victory. We're playing against the backup quarterback, even though Brissett is he's
Raiders are still in the hunt for a wild card, right?
Yeah, in the hunt, but things have to go our way, and of course, they have to win.
Right.
It's have to be solid stopping the running game. I mean, the Colts have a 3-headed monster as far as the running game goes in that backfield. You know, that Taylor and Hines, and then Mack, who doesn't really even get that much time, I don't believe, but Taylor's the real deal. And the Raiders don't have the best run defense. You know, they kind of stopped the run on the way to the passer. Defense hasn't been the strong suit for the Raiders in the past decade. So, I mean, we've got our work cut out for us. The defense has to be solid. The offense can't start slow. Receivers have to catch the ball. Carr has to make correct reads. Running backs have to run hard. The O-line has to block. And we just have to try to get this victory. The past 10 years or so, the Raiders have started off strong in the first half of the season, and then the second half of the season comes and they tail off, and it end up 8-8. And that's why I wasn't too happy when they were 5-2 earlier in the season, because I'm not impressed with
the Raiders. I think the Raiders are competing with the Jaguars for the Turmoil Team of the Year award. Right? They have had.
I think they win, though.
You do? You think they
would, no, the Turmoil award over the Jackson.
The Jaguars with their coach kicking or yelling at the kicker or something?
Yeah. They lost their coach because he's a bigot and a racist and a sexist. And then they lost a 21-year-old kid who killed somebody drunk driving. So I think they win hands down.
Yeah.
Right. That's a tough thing to battle. It's like this. They just got to finish the season, erase it, and start over.
I agree.
And the first thing they got to do is get their owner to get a new haircut. You know? I mean, when that guy walks out onto the field and you're playing for them, you look at that guy, you go, "Are you kidding? This guy owns our team? Are you kidding me?" Of course, he inherited it. He probably couldn't build it if and that's probably one of the problems.
Hey Todd, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of that father of those Turpin kids that were rescued out here in Riverside. The father that got thrown in jail.
Why does he have the same haircut?
He has the same haircut. But going back to the Raiders,
it's like him and Kim Jong-un have the same barber. It's like they don't have the same haircut, but it's like, okay, just do me a favor, barber, ruin my hair, make me look ridiculous. You know, that's all right. So joining us, Mr. Eric from the big chair. He's in his big chair tonight. And how you doing there, Eric?
Long time no see.
Pretty good. How are you guys?
All right.
Eric.
Good.
Getting wetter and wetter.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Mark Davis, someone forgot to tell him that the mullet's been out for about 30 years.
You know, it's very rare when an owner's kid does good with a team. You know, it's just they inherit the team. They never built the team. So
Jeannie Buss has done all right. 5 championships.
Jeannie Buss, here's a story for you. So I was working a game, and it was the Knicks and the Lakers, and Walt Frazier and Phil Jackson were roommates when they played together. They had roommates back then in hotels. They didn't get their own room. So I'm downstairs and I'm talking to Clyde because he was the announcer for the Knicks and I was working with the Knicks. And he's really the coolest guy in the world. Like he's as cool as you would expect him to if you're a Knicks fan and you know Clyde. So we're talking and all of a sudden Phil Jackson walks over. And I feel like I'm in Avatar. I don't know if you remember Avatar, where you didn't realize it, but at the end of the movie, they're all giants. Even though they were afraid, they were all giants. And I'm there, and I'm like, I feel like I'm like this little stick looking up, and Phil Jackson and Walt Frazier are talking. And then Phil goes, I guess he was dating Jeannie Buss at the time. He goes, Jeannie, come here. So she comes over, and it's me and them three. And, I was talking to Walt Frazier. I was like Casper the Friendly Ghost at that point. Nobody acknowledged me, and I just slipped away, and nobody missed me because they were in their own conversation. Phil Jackson was introducing Jeannie Buss to Frazier. But it was like, there's two things going on there is that they just I was talking to Clyde, who was great and very congenial, but then they totally ignore you. Like, it's a little bit rude if you think about it, because you're talking to somebody, and then they, plus they're towering over you. They don't even see you. So that was a little.
Shocked to hear that Phil Jackson could be rude.
I would like to see, I thought a great reality show would be you take the best coach, the coach from the best team, and in the middle of the year, you trade him to the coach, the worst team, and you see if it's really the coach or the players that are see if Phil Jackson can improve the worst team, and the worst coach of the worst team, how is that team going to do? Are they going to suddenly, lose the motivation or momentum? Because there's coaches like a Bill Belichick and a Greg Popovich and a Phil Jackson who are consistent winners. Yeah. They're just consistent, and it doesn't. You could have great players, but look at Scott Brooks when he was at the Oklahoma Thunder, and he had James Harden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka. He had so many MVP type players, and they got to the finals, but he couldn't win a championship. And I think that's the coach. I think that's. It's like when Kurt Rambis, any team he went to as a coach was horrible. And he could be an assistant because he wasn't the coach. So I think coaching is major. I really do. I think Phil Jackson is whatever he did, he did something, and so anyway, that's a little basketball talk there. So all right, so the Chargers. Let's get back to the Chargers. Chargers are playing who this week? Chargers are playing.
We were talking the Raiders.
Oh, we were talking the Raiders. Oh, we were talking right, and the chaos between them and Jaguars. So I don't see the Raiders stopping Jonathan Taylor at all.
Well, will they stack the box and basically say, Brissett, you're going to have to beat us? I mean, that's if how do you not start with that philosophy of, you have a backup quarterback and they have a strong running game? Well, make him beat you with his arm to start. And if he does, he does. But I love Taylor. I just don't know if they're totally, because at least with Wentz, they knew they couldn't key on Taylor all the time, or else he was going to either take off and run or throw it. So we'll see if Brissett can, replicate that.
The thing I love about Taylor, though, what was that?
If they do stack the box, like Casey's saying, I think the Raiders defense opens them. They just become vulnerable to the screen. And if you put Jonathan Taylor on that screen action, oh my God, it's goodbye Raiders.
And he slips through. And the last game, he didn't score a touchdown, Taylor. So it's like they they used him for the drives, and if they're expecting him to go in, I didn't research enough, but I don't know if they passed to use other runners, but they just from looking at the numbers, they spread out their offense and they balanced it out, and they couldn't be stopped. So, and Jonathan Taylor, the way he slips through lines is amazing to me. He's like an eel. He just gets through. He's just amazing.
He always falls
What?
forward. He's one of those players that, he always gets an extra 2 or 3 yards just because he's falling forward. He knows that he can leg drive, and he'll turn 1 yard into 4 yards many, many times.
Yeah.
I wish I made my bet after this show, because I saw the +3 for Raiders, and I thought without Wentz, that's a sure deal. But I was discounting Taylor, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the I want to call them the Pacers. The Colts they're gonna take them easy. Sorry, Manly.
We'll see what happens.
Sorry, Manly. Okay, even though you're a fan and you want them to win, what do you think?
I think the Raiders. I think the Raiders.
Oh.
It's not going to be easy. It'll be a close game, but we definitely have to contain Taylor and limit mistakes, turnovers, and penalties.
When you don't have your starting QB, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
At this time in the season, especially.
Right.
Derek Carr looked like poop, like the first 3 quarters of that game last week, and until the fourth quarter, that's when he finally started finding receivers.
And that can't happen this weekend. If that happens this weekend, then the game will be over. The offense has to show up, and the defense has to show up.
All right. So we have Manly picking an upset, going with the Raiders. So let's go back to we did the Chargers already with the Broncos. So
did you talk Chargers already?
Yeah. Well, you have something to say, Eric. Throw
I'm
your
getting
2
some
cents
bad
in,
audio.
but you're a little.
Eric,
throw your 2 cents in, but you're a little late, so it's only gonna be 1 cent.
Well,
what do you got on that one?
I think the Chargers are done already. I mean, them blowing it to Houston, that was just a major. That was their season right there. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs after being there. They had the 5th seed, I believe. Might have even won the division. They don't deserve to make it. That's all I have to say. Disappointing.
Let's that's what we talked about. I think they don't go past the wild card. So Lou, who often is on the show, and from New Orleans, is saying the Saints are dead. And
yeah, sorry, buddy. I agree.
But I got to tell you, it's the battle of the bads, because they're playing Carolina, who cannot get it together. And you know what? I want to tell you, I think the Saints will come marching in with a win. This one.
Me too.
Did they just release Cam Newton? I heard something on the news, but
they released who?
Were they going to release Cam Newton, or were they just going to bench him? The Panthers.
I haven't heard.
Oh, there goes that jersey. I'm glad I didn't wear that one.
They said Sam Darnold starting. That's
right.
The last I heard.
They're alternating. Sam Darnold starts and he goes in and does some running plays. So they're doing like they did last week. But the Saints lost last week because they didn't have Taysom Hill or Case Keenum. They were both out with COVID. So they put in a guy they pulled off the roster, like off the street.
That was their rookie Ian Book.
Yeah, the rookie guy.
The guy they literally had Blake Bortles as their emergency backup, who went from the airport to the practice facility to the game, I believe. It might have been the same day.
There was rumors they were trying to get Drew Brees to come out of retirement.
They're always going to try to get Drew Brees to come out of retirement. the minute Jameis Winston went out, everybody's like, "Did they call you? Did they call you? Are you going in?" He's like, "I'm happy where I am."
So you think the Saints would have beat Miami if they had their players last week?
I think if they had Taysom Hill as the quarterback, it wouldn't have been. I think it would have been a better game, closer game.
Miami all the way.
So, Eric, is Miami in the hunt for a wild card at all, or are they out?
Oh, yeah, who isn't in the hunt with these playoffs? Yeah, aren't they 8-7 or are they 7-8?
They've won like 7 in a row, haven't they?
Yep.
Yeah,
Last week
they're
they hot.
turned the season around.
The games they lost, they didn't have Tua. And everybody's like, Tua sucks. Well, since he's been back, he's won.
They're gelling. They got a hell of a defense. Just don't bet over on them like I did last week.
Yeah, Miami had some, they beat some powerhouse teams like the Giants twice and the Jets and
they don't play the Giants twice.
No, they played the Jets twice. They beat the Jets twice. They beat the Giants. They beat Carolina and Houston. So there's an easy schedule that gets them into the playoffs.
They beat New England first game of the season. If they lose this weekend, it's because they're looking ahead to the last game of the season against New England, who they always beat. So
has New England lost their momentum? Is New England's mojo running out?
No, I didn't think they were going to split with Buffalo. I didn't think they were just going to split, and he's got to have a bad game here and there. And Josh Allen, when he gets his Josh Allen on, he's the Mandalorian dude. You cannot make him flinch.
He looked like Patrick Mahomes, Remy. He looked like Mahomes. He was throwing those little shovel passes.
Dude, he's a.
I love Josh Allen.
He's a fourth
I'm
quarter
just getting surprised when he what.
Now in the playoffs, in the fourth quarter, you do not want to face him if you are even close. If they're even like 3 yards behind you, that guy in the fourth quarter is lights out, ridiculous. I mean,
about a month ago on this show, I predicted Buffalo to be the champion of the conference. So now I think mine may be prophetic. Except Kansas City looks too good for anybody.
Well, Buffalo's playing Atlanta. And Atlanta has 3 huge wins this year against Jacksonville, Carolina, and Detroit. 3 of the worst teams in the league. So I think Buffalo's got that one, don't you think, easily against Atlanta?
If Buffalo loses that game, Josh Allen, shame on you. Right. And I will start comparing him to Kirk Cousins.
If they lose the game, it's going to be their defense because their defense let them down against the Patriots last week. They had them beat, and they let them come back and get in that game almost. Their defense is letting them down in the second half all the time.
Yeah,
Josh Allen can't throw 55 passes every game and give you 40 points and still almost lose. They can't. It's the defense. The defense isn't the same as it was last year. They had a really great defense last year and the beginning of the year, but now it's been kind of like teeter-totter. I don't know. That's just my.
Well, they've had some uneven games. They've had some. Buffalo's had some uneven games. Even in their offense and their defense.
They've also lost their corner, Tre'Davious White, for the season with an injury, and they are, well, for the most part of the year, they've been horrible with their running game. So if they want a chance to do anything, they're going to have to start getting stronger with their running game. Their running game has been Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is too much of the running game. When a quarterback is too much of the running game, you got to spread. You got to have running backs. You can't because you're going to get hit and you're tired and you're going to get beat up. So,
which goes to say that Kansas City is all around the team that's going to go because they have a running game, a passing game, a defense. You have to have all those. You have to have those 3, and that's what's going to get there at the end because they got that running game.
Remy, you see Kansas City in the Super Bowl again, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do too.
I see KC Green Bay, which would be a rematch of the first Super Bowl ever.
Rams are coming back.
Wait, so if Kansas City and Green Bay, that repeats Super Bowl 2.
2, yeah, one of those.
Right?
That's right. That number 2. Number 1.
I thought it was number
1.
Number 2 was the Raiders. Number 2 was the Raiders.
Right. Kansas City, Green Bay was number 1.
And they'd be playing in Los Angeles, which is where they played in the first one.
Yeah, that too. And they played in Los Angeles that year.
You know
that would be amazing.
So you got to wonder when they
awesome.
do the show
Awesome.
if they've got to refer to that game. They've got to show if that's the game. I don't know who's got the Super Bowl this year. Could be Fox or NBC. I don't know who got it. But they've got to do that. You've got to show like the old. What was it at the Coliseum they played?
It was at the Coliseum, and the original. Check this out. Was on 2 networks, and it wasn't sold out, but it was on 2 networks.
Oh, really? NBC and CBS?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
I don't think, folks. I mean, with the Cowboys and the Rams, I don't think the Packers have it so easy.
And I bet you one commercial now is more than all the commercials combined.
Oh, by 100, Todd, by 100.
Right. That would be.
Did they even
maybe
really
by
have
1,000
back then? They didn't really have advertising back then, did they?
Yeah, the advertising companies used to pay for the whole show.
Hey, Eric, I think either the Cowboys or the Rams, whoever gets to play the Packers, have to go through Lambeau, and that's going to be a tough win, man.
For both of them, yeah, they're both warm weather. I don't know. The Cowboys are so hot and cold, but after last week, I think a lot depends on this week. If they're still their defense has to be
the Redskins. Give me a break. They played.
They're on fire though. If they're heating up at just the right time. So I only want the Rams because I bet with 10-1 for them to win the Super Bowl, and I'm an LA native. So
and the Rams are my team too, man. But I got to be realistic here. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right, Julio. That Lambeau.
The Rams ain't going to be there.
Points.
The Rams won't be there. The Rams will be watching on TV with everybody else. So all righty, we are going to go to Remy's New York Giants. Casey, are the Giants your favorite team or no?
No, I grew up with them because I lived there years and years ago. So kind of when I moved out to LA, I kind of lost touch.
Okay, so Remy's Giants in one of 2 Battle of the Bad games. Giants versus Chicago. So this could be the first 0-0 game of the year.
I think Chicago wins, dude.
I can't stand Andy Dalton. And let's see, the Giants are 1-7 on the road, and the Bears are 1-5 at home. And who's quarterbacks this week?
Both. Glennon and Fromm are both playing this week. I guess one's going to play one half and one's going to play the other half.
That guy's got the longest neck in the history of the NFL.
Dude,
man.
Oh my God. He needs to be snapped. He's awful. Like,
He's pathetic.
I couldn't finish. I couldn't watch the second half. I really, literally, it was like watching it was like watching a reality TV show with bad dating.
He's had a great long career. They didn't want to sign Kilpatrick, but they signed him. I don't know.
This is just
Is Fields Is Fields the Bears, or did he get injured?
I think he's playing. He played last week. I think, yeah.
Yeah, they beat
Tough
the
to
Eagles
be a
last
Giants
week.
and Jets fan. Oh boy.
Yeah, they beat Seattle last week.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
But they were I thought Seattle had that game won, but then they came back and won by a point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe the Giants will surprise me, but I don't believe in miracles. So
where are they in the who are the I think Jacksonville is a lock for number 1, right? Where are the Giants for draft picks?
We're 4 and 5. We're 5 and 6. And the 5th one is the Bears pick we got from them for last year when we let them jump up. So we've got and apparently we're not going to get a quarterback with that pick. We're keeping.
Are they satisfied with what's his name? Jacobs? Is that it? What's his last name?
Who?
Daniel
Jones. Apparently,
are they satisfied?
He's coming back next year.
Is he their guy?
Apparently, and they just lost another fan. They're going to lose a whole bunch of fans because this Pickett kid looks really, really good, and no one needs in the top 4 teams besides us don't need a quarterback. And if they don't pick him, and they keep Daniel Jones, and I mean, Daniel Jones isn't bad, but when they need him to be good, he's not. He's got an arm, he's got a brain for it, but he makes the stupidest passes, and he's just, I mean, and he's athletic.
Hey Remy, don't you wish the NFL could draft straight out of high school?
Yeah, because I take Peyton's nephew.
That's what I was going. That's where I was going.
Yeah, but these kids would get demolished in the pros. They would get demolished. One hit from an
He's
NFL
a junior
guy
right now in high school, and Alabama is trying to recruit him. They are all recruiting him now, and he's a junior in high school.
Oh, the colleges will recruit, but these guys need to develop physically.
But they're coming out on their second year. These guys that some of them will come out on their second year.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I think they need to. So we hopped on New England, but let's go back to New England because they're playing Jacksonville, and it's a big game for New England because they're fighting, and they're lucky they're playing the Jaguars. And I don't know. What do you think about Lawrence? I do not think he's an NFL quarterback. I don't even think it was a coaching issue with him. I've seen some of the passes he's thrown, and I just don't see him as a good quarterback. You know, that he's unpressured.
I don't agree with you.
One of the things I'll say is if you look back to, let's say, now of course not a great example today, but Jared Goff, when he was under Fisher, he was horrible under Fisher. And then they got McVay in there, and Goff turned into a serviceable quarterback. So I really have difficulty throwing Trevor Lawrence, onto the bust heap when he had that debacle as the coaching staff. So
so I was watching a game, and Trevor Lawrence had another horrible game, and then I'm watching a different game, and all of a sudden a Subway commercial comes on, Subway food, with Trevor Lawrence, and he's got the long hair going, and I'm looking at the guy, and I'm like, all right, they're marketing to every stoner NFL fan right now because he looked like he was just in another world, and
he's a Bible Christian.
Is he?
Got married already? Yeah, he's a super big Christian. Got married. Hey Todd, before I forget, I just noticed the logo for Sports Gluttons has Don Meredith, and look what I got. Oh, can you see it?
Oh, wow.
All-time favorite quarterbacks, and they haven't retired his jersey. Here's my other one that I keep in my room. Joe Willie. But yeah, Don Meredith, who they never retired his jersey. It's a travesty.
Oh, they never did? That's
no, they got a number 17 now on defense.
Wow.
There it is.
Or a receiver.
Right,
it's a receiver. Yeah.
There it is. Right there. So I put like a little. Yeah, that's a great card. That's a great card. And pick out like these old great players. So New England though, just to go through a little stat, allowed 13 points or less in 6 of last 7 games, and 10 or less in 4 or 5 with 1 shutout. So Patriots are, even though they're a little inconsistent, they could be a tough playoff team. Any thoughts?
I think they go, but I don't think they make it far.
Yeah, I agree with Remy.
You got to look at the playoff thing.
People got a lot to learn. They're ahead of the curve with this team. So, but don't put it past them not going there next year or the year after. But I think he's still young and learning. And don't get me wrong, they got their next quarterback for the next 20 years. So, but
that's if McDaniels doesn't get lured away from any other NFL team for their head coaching job. I think you're still developing this kid, Mac Jones. I didn't think he was going to be, this efficient. Right. But whenever you're going into a Belichick type of a team, he finds a way. And McDaniels is just a great offensive coordinator, so he knows the kid's strengths and weaknesses. So, going back to Trevor Lawrence, I think. The book is still too early on him. I mean, it's too soon. I think
I throw the book at him.
That's the only way we can lure Josh McDaniels away from New England is if he wants to go and develop Trevor Lawrence. But for any other reason, no one's been able to lure him away. And even when they almost lured him over to the Colts, he changed his mind in the last second, went back to New England. So
McDaniels is going to – Belichick's almost done. I think he'll just wait. He's coaching waiting.
The only thing is, I think if Trevor Lawrence was a thought that he could maybe take that kid and do something with him, I think he'd want to do that. Which I just think Jacksonville, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't develop into who he's should be, I'm going to blame Jacksonville for bringing in Urban Meyer and making a mockery of the NFL.
All right, so before we go into the game of the week, let's we have a comment here. How can NFL not postpone game with 20 players, 4 assistant coaches on COVID? I don't know if that's one team he's talking about. I don't know if that's New Orleans. But there's been so many players that have not played. But what are your thoughts? I have my thoughts on it.
Well, the reason they're not postponing the games because if they cancel them, they have to. They're not getting paid, and they want them to get paid. They want the players to get paid. Oh. But if they're vaccinated and they're doing everything you told them to do, and they got COVID, that is not the team's fault. That is not what you said at the beginning of the season. You said if people are non-vaccinated and didn't follow protocols and they got COVID, it would be on them. Well, this is on COVID, and they should have postponed some of those games. Or, I'm sorry, it's your new 7-game season, but it's going to kill the Browns off playoff chances because that week they didn't have all those players and they lost a game that they could have won. There's other teams that have lost games because of this, but they want the players to get paid, and they won't get paid if they postpone.
Go ahead, Eric.
Well, it all kind of evens out as far as who's playing. I mean, realistically, at this point, I don't think you can put a blame on personal habits. It's just raging. But I believe, realistically, especially in these states like Florida and some of these southern states, they really shouldn't have crowds. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. But who knows if that would change. Those are my thoughts.
I think money drives the whole thing, and fans are still going to watch, and they're just going to play. If players can't show up, it's not going to stop the crowd. NFL is a huge draw. It's once a week, so, one game a week per team, and people are going to watch their teams, and it's not only the players getting paid, but the team's getting paid and the league's
the way
getting
it's
paid.
Just going crazy. I don't want to get political at all, but do you really think they should have 80,000 people together? A lot of them, most of them not wearing masks.
Not now.
Everyone has their own opinion on this. And look, all these players, 95% are vaccinated, and look how many people get COVID.
So I'm just talking about the public health.
I understand. I get it. I understand what you're saying, but there doesn't seem to be a solution because, the vaccine was supposed to be the solution. And when it became not the solution, it became, well, at least you don't get as sick. So they changed the definition of it. I wish they would say, I really wish they would say, okay, these players, got COVID and they were vaccinated. These players got COVID and they were unvaccinated. And I'd like to see the breakdown because Kyrie Irving was not vaccinated. He got COVID. How deeply did these guys, were they affected by COVID? And look at Aaron Rodgers had COVID. He came back and he came back strong.
Well, there's only a few in all the leagues. The NFL has the most liberal non-vaccinated policy, and I couldn't believe when I saw Aaron Rodgers and a couple other guys talking and not wearing their masks. But most of the leagues have over 95% vaccinated rate. I'm not going to get into that.
Right,
they're being as safe as they can. I just think it's a public health hazard to have these sold out stadiums at this point.
Yeah, well, look, but you got NBA players, they're friggin' sweating and spitting on each other. They're playing body to body. It is what it is. You can't, people are going to, and I think we've only had one major issue. I think we talked about it last week, the Portland Trailblazers guy who had some kind of lung issue or something, and they didn't want to say what it was, but obviously it was.
Oh, he had a collapsed lung.
The athletes themselves, no one's getting sick because they're in the top shape. I just think, especially in
there's a lot of
arenas,
people getting sick. There's soccer players who've gotten sick and have collapsed on the field, and there's a lot of people that have gotten majorly ill from whether it's COVID or vaccine or not vaccine. But there's a lot of effects on this.
I know.
And yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I know that we're talking about NFL right now, but let's not forget about these college kids. I mean, all these bowl games that have just been canceled this past week. I feel so bad for these kids because a lot of
UCLA, their first, the
Holiday Bowl, a lot of these kids are seniors on their team, and these games are getting canceled left and right. I just feel for these kids.
Yeah, and New Orleans, you have to prove vaccination. Most states and most arenas and stadiums, you got to show your card. You got to prove it. So, that's. But I would like to know. I was at a game last year. It was a college basketball, Gonzaga versus somebody. It was number 1 and 2. We set up the show one day, and the next day it was a 1:00 game. And the game got canceled at 11:00. And it was because of a practice player and an assistant coach. I mean, come on, unless it was in close proximity, maybe that's what it was. But right, these kids, how many people got COVID on UCLA or the other team? What happened? And this weekend they've canceled a ton of stuff. I don't know, maybe 2 I saw, but I'm kind of hyperbole.
Well, yeah, I hope the seasons can progress. I hope they have the bowl championships.
For college football?
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Michigan hasn't been there in a long time. Hasn't been in the championship in a long time. But I mean, it's like
I don't think Michigan's ever been in the series, have they?
Back in the day when they had Bo Schembechler, I think they won.
No, but not since this new college championship top 4 seed.
It's the first time they've been in it for
Michigan hasn't been relevant since Rocket Ismail.
Yeah. No, I think Tom Brady too when he was on our team, right? But I mean, then you got
Rose
that
Bowl.
too. Honestly, I don't want Tampa Bay to go anywhere. I hope they lose in the first round because, to me, letting Antonio Brown come back on your team and now your coach has COVID, who has cancer at the same time, and you want him on your team now because you need to win. That's not the kind of people.
Oh, did he have the fake card?
Yeah, he had the fake vaccination card.
That's messed up.
He's back now
up.
because they lost. We need him back. We need him. Now your coach has COVID. I don't say it from him, but he has cancer. So he walked around as coach.
I can't.
And that's not a class act. And to me, you're saying it's more important to win than my coach's health and the team's health. And this guy has just been a menace to society for this football for too long. And doing that is just, to me, that kind of team doesn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl. So I do hope they lose in the first round. Because
which team are you talking about?
Tampa Bay, because I don't approve of that. We need this guy on our team to win, but this guy just showed you how he cares about nobody but himself.
Hey, Remy, I think they looked the other way with Antonio Brown with his fake card because I believe Godwin's out for the year, isn't he?
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're telling me a coach that's giving you another chance when no one else in the league is giving you a chance because Tom Brady wants you on the team. Tom Brady is a player. He is not a coach. He is not a god. But he wanted this guy on the team, and Arian said, "I'll give you what you want." And
but how do you think the Bucs are going to do against the Jets this week? After all that,
they'll probably crush them. But
them. That could be that's the slaughter game.
I'm going to pick the Jets just to be spiteful.
Just so you can root.
The Jets might cover the point spread.
But talking about COVID and money, I have one disagreement is other teams, like when Kansas City played Green Bay, people wanted to see Aaron Rodgers play. They don't want to see Jordan Love. So I don't know that they don't get the fans. People see the Browns. They want to see Baker. I think they do. That's me personally. When he doesn't play, no one wants to watch that. No one wants to watch the backups play.
You know what? And Casey talks about, Casey has a great thing about, let's hear Casey's Baker talk.
Baker Mayfield threw 4 interceptions in the loss against the Packers. A close game that could have been won. It brought into sharp relief the quarterback situation in Cleveland going into the offseason. Do you re-sign Baker at an extension? one that he wants probably in a Dak Prescott kind of salary range? Do you try and reboot, bring in someone else? But how? It doesn't seem that a big-time quarterback that might move, like an Aaron Rodgers or a Russell Wilson, would want to go to Cleveland. And in the draft, there are no franchise quarterbacks in the pick of the litter. So what are you going to do? My suggestion, you either don't sign him to an extension, or maybe the lowest extension you can get, and bring in some competition to push him, or possibly even replace him. Somebody who comes to mind, Tyler Huntley of the Ravens. He's coming up in a backup role for the Ravens and done pretty well. He's also available in the 2022 season. All I know is that I would not want to be in the brain trust of the Cleveland Browns coming into the offseason.
Yeah, so what year is Baker Mayfield in?
They have to sign him next year. It's his fourth year.
I think he's in year 4. And this is usually when you get your extensions. But how much? That's the question, is how much are you going to put into him money-wise? Because are you going to hitch your wagon to him for the next few years?
No,
go ahead.
I think the best thing for them to do is franchise tag him.
Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, sign him to a one-year deal, and go from there.
And see how he does.
And see how he does. I mean, he has had his good games, his bad games.
But like last game, Manly.
What's that?
His picks were he threw into double coverage. He overthrew guys. And they only lost that game 22-24. I mean, That was a winnable game. And the running back Nick Chubb was tearing it up, but how do you come back against 4 turnovers against the Packers?
They have all the pieces. He'll do, like you said, I think as a next season, but if they had an elite quarterback with the rest of their pieces, I think they'd be in a lot better position.
But then why did you get away from the running game? Yeah, they went away from it in the second half.
That's my point exactly.
They went away from this, and you put it in Baker's hands and wanted him to do it with the guy's got a broken shoulder, for fuck. And you could say one of his interceptions, the pass looked odd because it just didn't look right in his arm and the way his arm fell. So, I mean, I don't know what.
I'll give you that, Remy. I'll give you that. But then there was the other 3 were basically into coverage. So that floating one, I'll say, okay, he's injured. That's he didn't set and plant, and he has to use his whole body. He doesn't have a strong arm. He uses his body. But when he's thrown into, you look and you're like, wait, where were you throwing that? Coverage. And that I always get, decision making to me is, okay, where did you throw it? And and I like Baker's feistiness, but boy, he just.
But he hasn't thrown that many interceptions. I think that was a career high, wasn't it, or something this year, or something of that many interceptions. He hadn't thrown that many interceptions in like 5 games, and he threw 4 of them in one game.
I wonder what quarterbacks are going to be available for teams that need a quarterback.
Well, the problem is the ones that are available, they have picking where they want to go.
Right.
Yeah, no one wants to go to Cleveland.
They don't have a round draft pick to go after Pickett. I think Pickett's the only quarterback that's really coming out of the college that's worth anything. And maybe Huntley, but I mean, does he want to go to Cleveland? He's in Baltimore right now. He might say, yeah, tag me. He might not want to go to Baltimore. Like she said, what if they don't want to go?
If someone's going to offer you a starting job, though, I mean, you would jump at it. I would.
Yeah, if you look back at it, though, the last 4 years with Baker has been the best they've had in 20 years with every other year with a new quarterback. They were one play away, like 1 score away from going to the Super Bowl last year. They almost beat Kansas City. And he had a game of his life against Kansas City and against the Steelers in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, the Browns had not been relevant since Bernie Kosar.
Yeah. And they have that commercial to show it with him and Bernie and that progressive.
Love his commercials.
So here's a comment. People forget the Browns have major trouble finding quality quarterbacks. Like you said, Baker is the best QB Browns have had since Kosar. getting rid of Baker for a better QB is much easier than he probably means is not as easy as it sounds.
Right. It's like, who are you going to bring
You
in
know?
if you don't resign him? I mean, you mentioned Huntley, but I believe Huntley is like a system quarterback, like what they built around Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. You bring in a guy like Huntley, Cleveland's going to have to change some of their offensive scheme to tailor to Huntley's skill. And do they want to do that? I think we mentioned Bill Belichick earlier, and I think one of the things with Bill Belichick is he's a great coach and has great coaches around him. A great teacher. That's why New England has been successful. They haven't always had the best talent, but they have a great coaching.
Right.
They have a great coaching team staff that get the most out of the limited talent that they do have, so that when they do get talented players, it just makes them even better.
You're turning a good player that has a potential, and you're letting him reach his potential.
Right.
Because they're doing something to him to reach his potential.
So you know,
because they had like Gronkowski, and then they had who was the other receiver that won the in his last Super Bowl at the Patriots? He won the MVP, I think. Edelman.
Yeah.
They had Amendola.
You need great coaches in order to win championships and titles. Great coach, Hall of Fame coaches need Hall of Fame players. You're not going to win if you have one without the other. That's why New England has been great, and I think that's kind of what's lacking with Cleveland and Baker Mayfield. If they had better coaches, smarter coaches and a smarter coaching team, that hey, this guy's not 100% healthy, so we're not going to put the whole game on him. We have a dominant running game. I believe they should have beat Kansas City earlier in the season, just like they should have beat them last year.
That's as I was talking about earlier. Was like, if you take a Belichick and put him with Cleveland,
right,
all of a sudden, he's the magic that he has, that little something that he has is gonna, because he's, New England is in a great team right now, but they're battling for first place.
Right, like Julio mentioned earlier. No one thought Mac Jones would be this. No one thought. Well, I didn't think New England would be in contention for the playoffs, but they have solid players and they have a great coaching staff. They're great teachers, and when you have that, coaches who pay attention and teach the small details and techniques and are smart and teach situational football, you put yourself in a position to win, even if you have average and sometimes below average players.
They're like the San Antonio Spurs of the NFL.
Popovich, exactly.
All right, so the game of the week: Arizona versus Dallas. This is going to be our wrap-up preview. Arizona started 7-0 since they're 3-5. They lost their last three. I think they need a kicker. He's 1 for 3 in their last game for field goals. Dallas, 6 games in the last 7, holding opponent under 20. They won the last 3 games by 2 or more touchdowns. I think Dallas over slumping Arizona this is important showcase games. But Dallas, here's their wins: Giants twice, Saints, Atlanta, Minnesota, Carolina, Philadelphia. I mean, they beat New England too, but that is not a strong schedule. Right. So I don't know how many of those are over 500. What?
Washington twice as well, so another mediocre team.
Washington
mediocre
twice.
To bad.
Right. Yeah. Right. So.
Yeah, those are excellent points, but they're peaking right now. They're really peaking, and that defense is on fire. I don't think they've ever been this good since back in the day. But maybe Arizona has an upset in them, but they're going the opposite direction. While the Cowboys, this will be a good test because you are right. Most of their wins have been sub 500 teams, but I don't think it's going to be close.
Right. I think the Cowboys win their 5th straight. Arizona loses their 4th in a row. Their playoffs are like out the window, but I think this could be a huge high-scoring game. I think the ball gets in the end zone a lot because I don't think either team has a great defense. I think this is a big test because Dallas has not faced like great teams, and Arizona, if they come back, what's going on with their quarterback? I mean, he had such a great start of the year.
He's hurt. He's got a really bad ankle, and his game is running.
Yeah, it's a high ankle sprain, isn't it?
Is that what it is? Okay, there was the example, Manley, we're talking about with the runner being Josh Allen. You can't have your quarterback be the main runner.
Right.
But Josh Allen's a lot
bigger. Look at Lamar and Lamar Jackson.
But those guys are
I mean,
bigger.
the runners get injured.
Kyler Murray's a small guy. He's not a big guy.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
So those guys, yeah. Josh Allen, that's a 230-pound boy that's running, and he can handle his own. But he hasn't been running a lot, and when he doesn't run a lot, they were losing those games. So
I just love Josh Allen. He is an animal out there. He is diving and flying and hitting people. Like he's an aggressive dude. He's an A personality jock.
He's fun to watch. I really like watching.
He's great in the post game too.
Oh, in the interviews?
Good quote machine, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see any of those. I want to check those
I'm looking
out.
forward in this game. I love the Cardinals running back Connors. He, to me, is just such a gamer. Came from Pittsburgh, and he doesn't get a lot of national press, but he plays hard.
He's
always getting that extra yard. He falls forward. I would love to see him be more of the game plan this week.
I agree with you, Casey, totally. I mean, he ran over the Rams when the Rams played him. The Rams, right? Yeah. And he just looks so good. I think that Kyler Murray is going to be passing multiple touchdowns, but I think they're going to go to Trayvon Diggs. So they're going to be interceptions.
Well, I think if they don't pick it up, I think they should put Colt in for a little bit. If they're like looking from behind.
I like him. I like Colt.
1, 2 out of 3 for those guys.
Yeah,
Are they out of the playoffs if they lose? If Arizona, are they out if they lose?
They're tied with the Rams for first in the division. I believe they're both 10-4.
They're both 10-4, but they're not in first place. The Rams are. They're in wild card right now. But if they lose, they're still wild card because they'll be 10-5. They're still in
Arizona built up a lot of cushion.
Yeah. No, not in first place. If they win and if they lose and Rams win the division. So right now they're the wild card.
Yeah, the playoff picture in the NFC seems a lot more stable than the AFC.
They have a 2-point lead. Everybody else has got 7 losses. They only have I think they're in no matter, even if they lose the next 2 games, maybe not. If the other teams win, but they could still lose and still make the playoffs.
Yeah, they had some of these teams.
Aren't they? They did. The Rams, the Packers, Dallas, Tampa Bay, Rams, and Arizona all got spots right now. There's only 2 wild card spots left. So they can lose the next 2 games. They're winning. They're fighting for home field advantage in first place in their division.
So who is it? The Niners and the Vikings? Are they the last ones in the playoff? Or the Eagles have a chance?
Yeah, it's the Vikings and
who
the 49ers
are the people that are on
with the Eagles sniffing it. But sniff it all you want. You get in the first round, you're done.
Yeah, and the Vikings aren't going anywhere. Not the way Kirk Cousins is playing. And now with Thielen being injured, I don't think they're doing anything.
This is Zimmer's last season there. But, yeah, the AFC is a lot more exciting for the playoffs. I sure hope the Chargers get back in, but they don't deserve to.
No, they don't.
I think them losing to Kansas City kind of deflated them a little bit because that was for the division. And I think that took a little bit out of them, and they went across the country in their heads thinking this should be an easy win. And they just slept on it. And he doesn't go for any 4th downs that game.
That was devastating. You're right.
Staley's got to stop doing that.
Well, he didn't do any last week. On the 4th downs they had, he didn't take any chances. The week before, he takes all the chances and misses out on 12 points.
Right. That's the game. That's the
those
game.
fourth down Gophers have been an interesting year. So, all righty. Well, who do we
Oh
think?
God, I hope that does not.
What do you think? Arizona, let's take a poll. Arizona, Dallas, where are we going with that one? Casey, who do you got?
Gosh, I don't know.
Dallas because of the defense.
What was that?
Dallas because of the defense.
Dallas. Okay. Remy.
I'm going to lone wolf the Arizona Cardinals just to see if get them a little punch.
Oh, okay. Eric.
Oh, Dallas all the way. Dallas and their D.
Right. Manly.
I agree. Cowboys and that
Game of the
defense.
week.
Yeah.
Game of Julio.
Yeah, Trayvon Diggs is going to have 2-3 interceptions. Dallas.
Told you I was lone wolfing it.
I'm for Dallas also, but this could, Arizona, like I was talking about how they have a pretty weak schedule. Arizona could pull it out,
If this was Arizona that beat my Rams, I think Arizona would win. But ever since Kyler Murray got hurt, it's just been out of whack. I think Remy brought up a great point. Put in Colt McCoy. He's
right.
probably a better option for you right now than Kyler Murray being hurt.
And they're missing Hopkins too.
They live and die with Murray, and he's not doing well.
Is AJ Green back?
Arizona's just they lost to Detroit. They beat the Bears. They lost to the Panthers. They're just not looking good. They're in trouble. They may not make it out of the first round either.
Are they going to Dallas?
Yeah, it's in
Aren't
Dallas.
all their wins on the road? All their wins are on the road. They're on the road.
Arizona?
Yeah.
Well, the beginning of the year they won 6 in a row, so that was home and away. And then
I think the ones they lost were at home. The ones they lost to were at home, weren't they? They lost to the Rams at home.
Yeah. The three last wins were on the road, but they lost to Detroit on the road, and then they lost to the Rams and the Colts at home.
Yeah, so they're a good road team. So they lost their games at home. They lost most of their games at home, but won.
Well, they beat Chicago on the road. I think LMU could beat Chicago on the road. So,
Seattle can't beat them on the road because they lost.
I think modern day could beat them right now.
Modern day, right?
Modern day could beat a few teams if they don't get in a fight.
Guys, I have to run. I got to go to bed.
Well, we're going to close it up, Remy. Thank you. I hope you feel better.
Yeah, I feel better, Remy.
Thanks.
I hope you feel better. And
go Cardinals.
Yeah, we'll catch up next week. Hopefully you're nice and healthy.
Root for those Giants.
Everybody, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. You came on, Manly. Thank you for joining. Hope to see you again.
Welcome aboard, Manly.
Good to see you, Julio.
Time here.
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir.
Casey, thanks for your
Did
pieces.
you explain what those
Go Dodgers.
Manly, what's those golden records back there? Are those yours?
Not mine. The wife used to work for a record company, Priority record company, and those are gold records for Ice Cube, and both of those are for Ice Cube. The Death Certificate album.
I worked the Big Three this year with Ice Cube, his Big Three League.
Oh, I like that.
Had, in Vegas.
Yeah. No Vaseline, Manly. No Vaseline.
Right. So, Casey, what was that hat you had on?
My Christmas present, the Dodgers in rose pink.
Oh, I like that. I like that. And Julio, what did you have on?
Oh, this is my all blue Dodger blue alternative hat.
All blue. Oh, there we go. The all blue.
We're going back to the promised land next year.
Got to.
Right.
Got to.
Right.
Got to.
Real quick question, very quick. Trevor Bauer, does he ever pitch for the Dodgers again?
Oh.
No. He'll have it. But he gets their money, though.
I know, but they're going to be desperate in the offseason.
No.
They are going to be desperate.
The players don't want him.
It's not the Dodger way. I totally get it.
He's a cancer in the dugout, in the locker room. He's a cancer from what I've been hearing. I mean, I really was hoping that Scherzer would re-sign with us, but desperation sometimes calls for desperate decisions.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, players now, I mean, there's so much money they get offered when they're free agents, and all of a sudden a team pitches against you in a playoff or World Series, and then he's pitching for you in the next season, or within 2 seasons, like Scherzer with he was with Washington, right?
Yeah, and then he came to the Dodgers in halfway through the season.
Right. Well, baseball's a few months away. We'll be picking that one up.
We still got basketball, folks. Jeez.
Still got basketball. We'll start getting into basketball.
Our teams aren't looking too good. LA teams.
NFL, it's good. We're coming down to playoff time. It's going to be exciting. So this is great. If you're part of the football pool, the Sports Glutton CBS football pool, if you're not, there's links I'll send out, and they're fun. They're just fun pools. No money involved. It's just
who's in first place? Are you still in first, Todd?
I don't even know. I gotta look. It's so funny because I get more risky with this pool and the money pool I'm in. It's the same kind of pool, but I don't know. I lose that one. I miss it by like 2 games, and this one I do okay. I think Casey missed a game, but I think she had a good week. And right? Didn't you have a good week and you missed a game?
I had a good opening week.
Yeah.
I've not had great weeks since the opening week.
Do you do the point spreads also?
No, you know what? I think next season I would do both. I'm going to do both. It's, because I started it late. I like doing point spread. I think it's fun to do a point spread one.
Man,
what do you think?
It always comes down to. It's just amazing how the odds makers. I lose so many games by 1 point or 2 points. They really know what they're doing. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. They know.
Those hotels in Vegas got built somehow.
Right. All righty. Well, thanks everybody. I'm going to close it out here. Thanks everybody for joining. You could watch the replays on YouTube, on Facebook, and there's on Roku and Amazon Fire on the cross promotion on the America's Hottest Cheerleaders channel. It's a free channel on Roku and Fire TV, and I'll put this one up, and you could always watch it. And again, YouTube, and it's on YouTube if you look up Sports Gluttons, and Facebook if you want to check out the replay of the show. Thanks everybody, and we'll be back next week, and we'll get closer to playoff times, and we'll do some playoff predictions, and I'll try to get some charts and possible matchups. So that'll be fun. Thank you everybody for joining us. Julio and Manley, thank you for coming on, making your premiere appearance, and yes. Eric and Remy and Casey, and that's about it. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Julio. Bye, Manley. Happy New Year to you.
Be blessed.